All right, we're just 2 weeks away from the midterms, and tonight is a critical moment in the Senate race in Pennsylvania. Lieutenant Governor John Fetterman will face off against Dr. Mehmet Oz in their first and only debate before Election Day. The latest CBS News Battleground Tracker polling shows the race is in a dead heat. Fetterman is only 2 points ahead of Oz, which is within the margin of error. So for more on this, let's bring in CBS News political director Finn Gomez. Finn, what is at stake for both candidates ahead of tonight's debate? I guess the answer is winning.
Their jobs.
Right. I mean, sorry, that seemed like it's sort of like that kind of question that really is sort of basic and elementary. But so let's just talk about.
Answered your own question.
Yes, let's talk about. I think a better question, Finn, is what do these candidates have to show tonight on that debate stage that is going to be enough to drive voters in their direction?
Yeah, I think that's a great question, Vlad, because, it is a critical debate tonight. As you mentioned, our new Battleground Tracker shows that this race is a toss-up between Fetterman and Oz. Fetterman is ahead by only 2 points, margin of error difference. He was ahead 5 points just a month ago. And as you mentioned, this is the one and only debate in this key matchup. So it's a real opportunity for these two candidates to deliver their message, their platform, their issues on these critical issues that we're going to hear about all cycle to a large group of Pennsylvania voters. And they will be watching, Vlad. According to our poll, 30% of voters overall say they're very likely to watch tonight. Those polled also said they want to hear about top issues, economy, gas prices, crime, and abortion. Those are among the top issues that people want to hear about tonight. And most, according to our poll, do not think it is important to hear about Fetterman's health or Oz's residency, by the way.
That is fascinating, because my question for you was going to be about his health and whether or not he sort of convinced voters that he's healthy enough. But according to the polling, voters are over that. He's healthy enough. They want to go on to the issues that really matter.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Anne-Marie. And, a lot of attention was brought up to the health issue after Fetterman was recently interviewed by NBC, somewhat of a controversial interview. But, he suffered a stroke back in the spring and has been off the trail. But, according to our new Battleground Tracker, a majority of registered voters say they believe Fetterman is healthy enough to serve. 55% of those polled say he's healthy enough to serve. It's slightly down from a month ago when it was 59%, but that shift was mainly driven by Republicans who are saying no in greater numbers. But you're seeing the Republican Democratic bases consolidate around their candidates right now. It's 2 weeks out. This is a crucial Senate race, and you're seeing both parties shift, and they understand the significance of this race.
So the race is tightening, according to our Battleground Tracker, Finn. And so we are seeing more Republicans throwing in their support behind Dr. Oz than last month when we tracked this. What's he doing?
In part, it's the sense that more Republicans are coming home, if you will. They're coming back. The base is coming out. They realize the significance of the Senate fight here, because it could determine who controls the Senate come past the midterm elections, right? According to our latest Battleground Tracker, the percentage of Republicans saying they'd vote for their nominee for Oz is up 94% from 87% last month. So you're seeing that effect, that coming home, if you will, of these base voters to support Oz. And again, it's about how crucial in the significance of the race, and they seem to understand that.
So they're fighting to replace Pat Toomey, who I think you could describe as a moderate conservative, and he was critical of President Trump, and many could argue that is, like many other Republicans, that's part of the reason why he's now out of a job, though he left, of his own accord. I'm curious about what this says. The state of the race being neck and neck. The fact that Pat Toomey, who was popular before Trumpism, is no longer in that position. What this says about sort of the changing landscape in Pennsylvania.
Well, we've seen that change, and I think your reference to Pat Toomey is a great one, because he was this sort of centrist, traditional a conservative Republican, and you're seeing that shift since like the last 2 cycles, really since 2016. You've seen that shift, like the identity of the Republican Party is more aligned with the Trumpism, as you refer to, Anne Marie, than that old guard, old school sort of traditional conservatism that Toomey represented. And I think the one thing about Oz, and the one thing that's happening here in this specific race, is that with the 2 weeks out, these big issues like the economy, these kitchen table issues, these pocketbook issues are really rising to the top of significance. And it's like, how do we, which candidate is better to help us with these issues that impact our lives? Gas prices is another one. And also crime. We have to point out that Republicans and their allies have spent millions on contrast ads or attack ads hitting Fetterman for being, quote, soft on crime. And it's having an effect. And also they're trying to link him to President Biden, whose numbers are currently a little, they're underwater right now. So you're seeing all this demonstrated. It's the last 2 weeks. Everything's more heightened and concentrated. And you will see. I mean, there are a lot of eyes, not just in Pennsylvania, that will be watching tonight. And this is a big race with us, which could have a seismic impact in just 2 weeks.
I, for one, cannot wait till the ads stop running.
Yeah.
There are so many negative ads on in Pennsylvania. Every 5 minutes I got to explain something to my kid.
What's funny is that
like
we don't get that many here in New York City. We get some,
DC,
but it's
frankly.
when I travel, Finn and Anne Marie, when I'm in other states. I was in Rhode Island this weekend, and every commercial is an ad, either Republican or Democrat, and it's remarkable. I can't imagine what it's like. Rhode Island's not a battleground state for anything, right? Rhode Island's like Pennsylvania, or if you're in Georgia, it must be crazy.
I think it's not necessarily the number of ads, though. There are more. It's I think the negativity.
Amount of spending.
They're very intense and they're very negative.
Very intense.
It's just after a while you're like, all right, I get it. I don't know if this is going to win anyone over.
I mean, it is, and you're seeing that a lot more attack ads than I've seen personally in previous cycles. Even some of those against Fetterman. I mean, before, like the Willie Horton ad was like sort of this, this typical attack ad, and you're just seeing more. It's more and more like normal, those kinds of attacks.
Well, I mean,
across the board.
No, Finn, you mentioned Willie Horton. I mean, the minute that ad, and I was pretty young when it came out, but I knew that right then and there that this is it's the Pandora's box. Once you open it, you're heading straight to the bottom.
You're such a bright young man. You knew at that moment.
I was a bit of a political junkie, but I just thought to myself, well, if we've already crossed this Rubicon, then it's not going to be that big of a leap for another candidate to use something similarly to that. But I do have hope, because as you saw in Jerika's 3 Meals piece in Pennsylvania, she spoke to a voter who said that he's tired of the attack ads. That one guy that she spoke to in one of the diners said, the left attacks, one group attacks the other group attacks the other. It's a zero-sum game. And meanwhile, all of them, meaning both the left and the right, are running to the banks, I'm using his words, with our money.
Right.
And so once people maybe realize that, then things can get done.
Yeah, right. Hey, Fid, it's always great talking to you. Thank you so much.
Great to talk to you guys. Yeah, always a pleasure.